Well, I'm Michael Palenchar, and I'm also the one of the founding directors of the Risk, Health, and Crisis Communication Research Unit. And we're a relatively new unit on campus, and we take a look at those three phenomena and at the intersection with communication and how we can better manage and mitigate risks through communication in relationship to health, safety, and environment. We're also dramatically involved in graduate education and their studies. There's some pictures, we do some training. There's actually some pictures from a College of Nursing and a training we did one summer. We also do training in Houston and for companies and organizations and involve our graduate students in full-scale exercising and integrating communication practices that they're studying to improve the crisis communication. We look at risk from a variety of perspectives: ideological, sociological, economically, politically constructed, and we look not just at the objective risk at play, but the perception of the risk held by the stakeholders and the risk bearers in those communities. We obviously also take a look at natural risks influenced by man, such as the tsunami and earthquake in Japan, California wildfires, to integrate better communication systems. Information technology system, common sense, discussions in the community, better brochures, newsletters, information system to help to manage these risks. Most of our work, however, is really in the production, risk related to the production of goods and services in this country. An iconic picture of a BP explosion in Texas City, and coming from Texas, BP has accidents every year down there. It seems like in the TVA ash spill. And it's an important part of what we do because, as Mary Douglas says, the noted anthropologist, we're involved as a society to manage those risks. But in relationship to the topic today, what's common, and there's a new phenomenon in a sense, it's really common to risks that are occurring right now. The Mumbai terrorist attack or the miracle on the Hudson in 2009, one of the common elements is how does social media interact and play and affect. Twitter, for both of those last two pictures up in the previous slide, it was announced the crisis, information of the crisis, came out prior to traditional media, traditional organizations providing that information. 15 minutes prior for the miracle on the Hudson of the plane crash, and that was in a major media market. So what's going on is really a collision in the sense of two things. One is the role of social media, the ubiquitous and explosive growth of social media related in media services, and the risk society, the increasing complexity of our risk society is making it more and more difficult to manage, to communicate, and mitigate crisis situations with the aid of communication. This is an example. We do a lot of research for the U.S. Homeland Security and the National Center for Food Protection and Defense, and the global complexity of this chain of environment related to food supply, and all of these organizations talking, including the consumers and everybody on social media providing information, and we're trying to better learn how to manage those situations. A couple of examples of social media during crisis situations. This is a crowdsourcing application online. And following the tsunami and the earthquakes, radiation leakage, people were out there tracking radiation leakage in the community and posting this information. Where can you find safe place to go? Where can you find safe food? What's happening with social media is it's fundamentally shifted who are the major communicators during crisis. It's no longer the organizations, the industry, the government agencies that are the lead communicator. It is the people that are bearing the risk, experiencing the crisis, sending out that information. The problem at play and what we're really studying is organizations haven't figured a way to leverage that wonderful, mixed up, sometimes accurate, sometimes not information. Lack of policies, lack of being able to keep pace with the changing technology, just not sure how to even venture into social media, and so we're not leveraging that communication very well. This is the last page of a report we did for Homeland Security in social media. How can we use social media to help us better counteract the domestic IED attacks? And after hundreds and hundreds of pages, I finally just said, look, we just need to say this. Federal agencies need to get out of the way of people using social media, help them use social media instead of trying to control the social media. There's also other problems at play. Major media, for-profit media companies, are part of the infrastructure of crisis communication now, but they have a for-profit incentive. Google, any major crisis now, they set up the Crisis Response Center, but what role are they going to play in that profit motive? Twitter, at a recent meeting in Washington, D.C., said, we don't want to be responsible, but everybody already is using Twitter during emergency communication. So how does a private company say they don't want to be responsible? even in games, social games like Twitterville and Farmville, and I never really play these games, real-life information about these crises going on is embedded into the games as those crises are evolving. And how do we use that? I have 3 slides, just a couple quotes from some leading executives on the front line of using social media on a study we did for Homeland Security. It's all about control. The organizations that are responsible or generating the crisis wants to control it, but social media is not a medium of control. It's a dialogic, creative medium, organic medium. Another part of it is they're spending so much time worrying about their reputation in responding to a crisis because there's a YouTube video of a fireman not doing his job at an appropriate place that is taking a lot of the information, public information officers' resources to protect reputations of an organization as opposed to get the accurate information out in a timely manner. And last, organizations are just scared. They're overwhelmed. How fast the information is traveling, who's creating the information. It's out of the public information officer's hands in a lot of ways. And I think that actually may be a good thing in so many ways. The nice thing about it is the research that we're doing in social media and crisis, along with others throughout the country, is consistent with the standard best practices over the last 30, 40 years. Plan ahead, communicate responsibly, minimize harm, be open and honest, communicate empathy. Standard approaches to communication. The technology is not changing any of that. It may be changing the speed, who's engaged, more opportunity for people to be engaged. So these are some of the things we're studying at our research unit. I hope you found a few things out maybe of interest today in the presentation. And if anybody's interested in partnering, we're pretty new, so we're always looking to collaborate across campus and part of the top 25 vision, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.